Now, with Christmas approaching very fast, only days away, the woodland does feel even more magical than it normally does. Now, I used to have to cross fields, footpaths and woodlands to get back from my friend's house, and we would have spent all day outdoors in those woodlands. I used to often allow my imagination to run riot. I used to think that if I just looked over my shoulder or looked that little bit harder, I would have found some woodland animals talking to themselves, or actually talking to me in like kind of a parallel kind of world to our own. And it was kind of almost based around Wind of the Willows or Watership Down, that kind of style. Obviously, I never did bump into any animals that would offer me a conversation or anything of that sort. But it never stopped my imagination thinking that I could, around any corner, just bump into some field mice just chattering away, some squirrels, or a fox that would stop and just chat to me. That is the innocence of childhood memories, but I had probably more chance of bumping into a Cornish pixie than any of that happening. But the woodlands do feel more special and magical with Christmas around the corner, and people far away from me are hurrying. There's all the madness of the Christmas shopping, everything that's associated with Christmas, and people in a hurry. I'm a million miles away from it here and enjoying it. Well, welcome back to the channel, and I'm in a woodland. We do have strong winds. I'm keeping an eye out for branches or anything that may come down, but it's not quite at that point where you shouldn't be in a woodland. There is other dog walkers around. I have used this woodland before. I've used this shelter when I've either been traversing up onto the moors, the high ground, or coming back down. And I have done a couple overnighters here, believe it or not, and I do have those videos in my back catalogue. I'm actually testing my Alpenflage Poncho, and this is its last test before I make my mind up whether it makes the cut to go into my Bergen, to go out on the trail or not. So I am here with a bit of a purpose, plus it is, well, Christmas is almost upon us, and I'm just getting a little walk out in nature, in the woodlands, just to soak it in, and basically just remove myself from all the Christmas stress, shenanigans, and the things that have got to happen in a very short period of time. As I've said, it's a Sunday before Christmas. I do have one more shopping day, and I do have to do a few bits of shopping, emergency quick shopping. And I'm sure there's probably a lot of guys out there in the same position as me. But I'm going to get a brew on, and we'll have a little chat about that poncho and how I think it's going to perform for me and where I think it's going to perform. So right then guys, this is the Alpenflage Poncho. I bought it to do the West Highland way. I've run into a few issues with it, and the chief main one is its weight. I can't break this down and pack it down in an extremely small manner. It's heavy, it's bulky. The material and the construction of it reminds me of a very lightweight or a lightweight canvas tent material. It's not like the modern ponchos which can be scrunched right up. It's fantastic. I've tried it a couple times in the rain, and water doesn't just bead and run off it. It absolutely, it's like Niagara Falls. It sheds it, and when you feel it, you can understand why. It has like a rubbery silicone feel to it. It's fantastic for keeping you dry, providing you keep your arms inside the poncho. As soon as you put them out, because there's no sleeves, you are getting wet. To combat that, I was using a secondary lightweight waterproof coat system underneath this. But the main problem is that I don't want to wear gaiters, and yeah, so it only comes down to shin length, so you're going to get wet there in a prolonged period of being out on the trail. So I'm going to probably not take this on the West Highland way. Have I wasted my money? No. This is a fantastic secondary backup piece of kit to have in your backpack when you're doing something like this, and you can literally put it on, tuck your arms inside of it, sit down beside a tree and wait out a storm, and if you sit down in the sit down position, it will go right over down to your ankles. So it is not a wasted money, and I will be using this out when I'm bushcrafting and wild camping. But for a long distance trail, too heavy, and I don't want to bring gaiters with me, so I'm going to use my Gore-Tex system, which is a jacket and trousers. And there is another reason I'm going to do that. It's quite simply that Gore-Tex can be used as emergency clothing. You have a trouser set up and a jacket, so if you get all your clothes, you know, which you would be trying not to, you get all your clothes absolutely sopping wet to the point, you know, you're really starting to reach a critical or dangerous situation, you can remove it and you can get your warm kit on and put your Gore-Tex system on, and it could be considered a kind of clothing. Even though it wouldn't have much R value, R rating value, it would get you out of a dangerously or an emergency situation, or as how I'm going to use it. I'm not suggesting you do, but that's my thinking on my trail that I'm going to do, and it's part of the systems that I'm putting in place as backup if things go wrong. Unfortunately, if I took this, it would be more weight and more space, and I've already found out my Bergen is pretty full. Fantastic piece of kit, and I'll be using it, and you'll see it a lot when I'm out wild camping and bushcrafting. For doing the trail, I don't think this is going to be in my Bergen. Let's see if I've got a cup of coffee ready. In previous videos I've talked about this particular shelter, and obviously it's a community woodland, and the volunteers use this, you know, when they're looking after this particular woodland. I don't wild camp in here, and I also don't bushcraft, but I have used this area here to actually spend the night when I've been out wanting to get outdoors, but the weather's been too inclement, too harsh. Because I have a hard standing roof, and it's almost like having your own little well, log cabin in the woods. Not quite, but I sometimes regard it as that. But yeah, I do come here quite a bit when I just want to get away for a few moments. That wind is really starting to pick up. Whoa, that's pretty gusty. I'm having a cup of coffee, like I said, and getting out of here. Yeah, with Christmas, there's probably a lot of people that feel the same as me. You do need a few moments to yourself. So this is my few moments to myself. Cup of coffee in the woods. I always say you can't beat it. And obviously chocolate treats. Why wouldn't I have chocolate treats? Well, possibly because I need to lose weight, and possibly for health reasons, but it's Christmas. The thing is, over Christmas there's a lot of pressure piled on to people, and I've always been lucky that I've always gone, you know, if things have got to the point I just need a few moments to myself, I'll grab my wetsuit, surfboard, and go for a surf. You know, because I know the coastline, there was always somewhere I could get a wave, even in the most horrendous of conditions. Or I've come out for a little walk in a woodland just like we've walked through here, and it's always been enough just to reset my mind, and then I can walk back into daily life and get on with the stresses and well, not even the stresses, but just getting straight back into daily life, so that you don't feel like that your only purpose in life is to, you know, be whatever role you are within the family, or indeed, you know, any other circumstance. just getting out and doing something as simple as opening your front door, putting your coat on, even if it's a walk just around your local town or village and coming back in, that quite often is enough just to do a reset. And yeah, that's a fantastic thing to think about over the Christmas period, because a lot of us will find ourselves, particularly as I'm beginning to gather the weather isn't going to be too good, or it's not looking like it is, just open your front door, put a coat on, go for a 5-10 minute walk around and then go back in. It does you the power of good. So I'm going to drink my coffee, eat my chocolate biscuits, and then make my way out of this woodland. Well, if you don't get out into the woodlands, I hope that you've enjoyed just coming with me for a little walkabout in this woodland. It's thoroughly nice, and yeah, it really has a reset or a feel-good factor, even in conditions like this. I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and well, I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me. Right then, I've just finished my coffee and I've packed up, but getting back to that poncho, because I'm not going to use it as part of my wet weather system, you know, it's even redundant having it there as an emergency system if my tarp was to fail, because my next go-to would be the bivvy bag in its own right. It's waterproof. I would just find somewhere that little bit more hunkering behind a bit of a feature, a tree or a rock, and there I would stay wrapped up in my bivvy bag, and that is my emergency shelter. So it becomes a bit redundant carrying this poncho to try and use it as an emergency shelter in that right. I have used a piece of strap, or a strap that I put on my Bergen to go around my waist. That stops it flapping in winds like this because it's so extensively large. Yeah, you can either be being blown around like a sail in the wind, or it's actually flapping and hitting you in the face because it's so large. And yeah, I think I'm making the right decision by not taking it on the trail with me. It's beginning to gust in here now, so I'm going to get out of here before I become a casualty of a tree or a branch coming down. I didn't expect the wind to be quite so strong as this, but I'm going to make my way out of here now. I'm hoping to do another few videos over the Christmas period, but you never can tell or guarantee, because situations and life throws curveballs at you. So if I don't get another video out, Merry Christmas, take care, stay safe, and I hope to catch you guys out on the trail. So if you're out in the woods over this Christmas period and you bump into ratty, toad, mole or badger, just say hi from me.